Adverts are rolling out in ChatGPT, and OpenAI are putting forward the adverts as a really good thing. This is actually good for you, and this is something that you're going to like, and this is good for everybody. We're making the right decision, and you're going to love it, which is it's a very interesting take. I understand why they're doing it from a PR point of view, from a marketing point of view. Adding adverts into your service is never going to be popular. Nobody likes it. Nobody is happy to have adverts. You just want to use the tool. You don't want to be advertised to. That's perfectly fine. But OpenAI need to do this because they need to generate revenue. And we'll talk about that in a moment and how I actually think it's very fair. But the spin they're taking on it is this is actually good for them. And they're actually going to really like these adverts. They're going to love these adverts. These are the best adverts they've ever seen, which is a very brave spin. I'm not sure if it's going to work. But they've even done things like they put out a new podcast. This week's podcast is all about ads. Asad Awan, one of the leads behind ads at OpenAI, joins Andrew Main to share how he came up with our ad principles and how ads in ChatGPT, free and go tier, expand AI access to all. Hey guys, it's cool. We've got ads now. Aren't you excited? I think it's a take. I'm not sure if they're going to get away with it, but here's the actual news. We're starting tests for ads in ChatGPT today to a subset of free and go users in the US. Notice they're still prevaricating. Instead of saying, hey guys, ads are the best, you're all going to get all the ads all the time and you're going to absolutely love them. They're saying we're starting to roll out, so couching the language here, we're starting to roll out a test, it's just a test, don't worry, for ads in ChatGPT to a subset, so not all of you, but a small number of you, of free and go users, so not all users, not paying, in the US, so again, a subset. So this is all minimalization language, which kind of goes at odds to the other narrative that they're pushing, which is ads are fantastic and you're going to love them and it's going to allow us to expand free access to artificial intelligence. So I think internally inside of OpenAI, there's probably a bit of friction between the different people in the comms department and the marketing department, with some people saying, no, we need to stick to this narrative that this is fantastic and people are going to love our ads and it's going to allow us to give free access to artificial intelligence for the benefit of humanity. We're starting to roll out tests for ads in ChatGPT today to a subset of free and go users in the US. Sorry, we added adverts into ChatGPT. I know it sucks, but it's not going to be too bad. Slightly different messaging here. Ads do not influence ChatGPT's answers. Ads are labeled as sponsored and visually separate from the response. So this part, ads do not influence the answers. This is something they've been talking about for a while. This is also a response to the advert from Anthropic. So Anthropic put out a number of adverts, including one at the Super Bowl, where they're basically teasing ChatGPT, teasing OpenAI, and saying that it's going to ruin your experience because you'll be having a conversation, maybe a heartfelt conversation with ChatGPT, and then suddenly it's going to insert an advert that's going to be not going to be relevant for you. It's going to push something that you do not want. So I think Anthropic were being a bit cheeky, very cheeky. It was an extremely funny advert and I highly recommend you go and watch it. But OpenAI pushing this line of, oh, no, it's not going to influence the answer. The answer will be separate and then we'll show you an ad at the bottom which will be related, but it will not influence your decision. I don't think it's going to be as bad as Anthropic are saying. Obviously, they're using hyperbole to make a point and to make it funny, but there's no way you can add a little advert at the bottom without influencing the person's decision. That's why you're adding the advert in the first place, to influence their decision. You might not influence the answer will be the same, but then you're adding something that says, oh, book this holiday, book this cruise, buy this enchilada kit, which is $15. That seems a lot for an enchilada kit. So that's influencing behavior, even if it's not influencing the answer. So again, this is slippery language they're using. The comms department have thought about all of this very carefully. If we just spend a little moment thinking about it, of course it's going to influence us. It just won't influence the answer. Ads are labeled as sponsored and visually separate from the response. We've talked about this before. There's always tension between how much labeling and how much visual separation there is. Google, for years, have been walking this tightrope between making sure the ads are very clearly labeled so they do not lose the trust of their users. If you lose the trust, you die. People will flood off your platform. Yahoo is a really good example of this because Yahoo started to do adverts inside of their searches, did not declare that they were adverts. Instead, you could just buy the top organic. When people found out and moved to Google, that was a big lesson for Google and other search engines. You have to label it, otherwise you're going to lose trust and people won't use your service. ChatGPT will do the same. However, you also want to, and this is the cynical part, you want to make them less visually separate and have less labeling. People are more likely to click because advertisers are, at the end of the day, they are buying these adverts because they want to sell product. So if you have adverts that maybe they look like an organic link, then, and people happen to click on it and buy, well, maybe that's not the worst thing. They wanted to buy that anyway, that's fine. And our adverts are happy, advertisers are happier, we're making money from the adverts, and that's fine. So there's always going to be this fine line between keeping the trust of the users and how much can we get away with for the benefit of the advertisers. If you are using a service for free, you are not the customer. This is the most important point here that I want to hammer home. If you are using something for free, if you're using Facebook for free, if you're using ChatGPT for free, if you are using Google for free, you are not the customer. You are the product. They are selling your attention. They are selling your clicks. They are selling your access to your data, access to your credit card. You, as a free user, you are the product sold to the actual customers, the advertisers. Google is primarily an advertising company. They just released their quarterly revenue, something insane. Is it 400 billion? The majority is advertising. They do tech, but primarily they make their money from advertising. So their customer are companies who pay for adverts. Exactly the same with ChatGPT. And if you are using the free plan, you are not their customer. You are product. Very important to recognize this. They say, our goal is to give everyone access to ChatGPT with fewer limits, while protecting the trust they place in it for important tasks. This is going to be the tension they need to balance on for the next couple of years. And it will be tricky. It will be really tricky because they are the first to add advertising. I do not envy their position, and best of luck for them. And I can see they're trying to make it sound like this is actually a great thing because it allows us to expand access. That doesn't matter for the individuals using it on a daily basis. This is a beautiful message that, we want to make sure that the world has democratic and it has free access to artificial intelligence so everybody can come along with the AI revolution. Awesome. Absolutely great. And I fully agree. The individual using it daily who gets adverts for an enchilada kit does not give a damn. They are not thinking of the other 1 billion users. They're thinking, oh God, another stupid advert for something I don't want. They're thinking about their personal use. And the more they realize that they are the product, they're the one being sold, they're not the customer, the more likely they are to move to a competitor. I 100% agree. This is how you keep the lights on. You're going to start to charge revenue from your free users so that you can keep the company going and you can provide a free service in the way that Google does. Google is free for users to use because there is that social contract. You're going to use this as free and find it helpful, but we are going to show you adverts. And that is the agreement that we have with Google Search in particular. That's what they're telling us it's happening here, and that is fine, but don't tell us we're going to love it. That as free users, this is fantastic for us. It's a little insulting. Best of luck to them. I do not envy them being the first to add adverts. Now, companies like Google can come in later, a year or two later. There's no rush for Google. People will already be used to it. Plus, all the rough edges of advertising in AI can be smoothed out by OpenAI. They can make all the mistakes. Everything can blow up for them. All the embarrassing adverts, all of the kind of memes can come from ChatGPT, and a couple of years later, Google will add them in Gemini or AI search, etc. And people will be like, yeah, that's just the cost of using AI. So again, best of luck to OpenAI, but not a nice place to be. I'm going to hop over to some questions. Then I'm going to look at what we're looking at after. Codex. We'll look at Higgsfield and AI.com, the hilarious AI.com. Let's have a look at Higgsfield. Higgsfield is an AI image generation software, one of many out there. They've personally approached me. I will say this for full disclosure. They've personally approached me and asked if I wanted to do a sponsored post, offered to pay me to put out a sponsored post. I don't do many sponsored posts, very few. I only do sponsored posts for products I actually use, and I don't use Higgsfield. I'm not going to go out and tell people, hey, you should use this. This is great when I don't use it. That's just not my style, basically. And there's so many other good products I do use I'd be happy to talk about. 3, I'm not that into AI images. I think that the best use, this is personal to me, so you can be different. The best use of artificial intelligence is for productivity, for building your own business, for being able to do things and build things that we weren't able to do before. That's entirely my focus. Building businesses, products, marketing, using artificial intelligence to get into entrepreneurship in a way that was impossible 20 years ago when I started my first businesses. I had to do everything myself. I didn't have money, I didn't have a team, and I didn't have co-founders. So I had to learn how to code, set up e-commerce, I had to learn marketing, I had to learn customer service, I had to learn how to write sales copy, etc. all myself. Now we have AI, it can do so much of that stuff. It's my focus of artificial intelligence. It's for entrepreneurship and being able to start a business, generate income and change your life. So for me, I'm not that interested in AI images, video, or music. The main excesses, the negatives of generative AI are with images and video because they are the most intensive. They use the most electricity. So if you are going to point at environmental issues in artificial intelligence, generative AI specifically, it's going to be more on the video front and image front compared to text, which is less energy intensive. Imagery is of less interest. Nano Banana Pro being my main exception because it can generate text in the images, which I find very useful for business purposes, being able to put together a presentation in minutes, being able to use it to teach, to educate, etc. I think that's a valid use. Higgs field, on the other hand, is primarily for, I'll call it what it is, slop. I'm not gonna get sponsored by them anyway. I've already said no to them. Higgs field yesterday lost their Twitter account. So Higgs field have been putting out a lot of, there's a couple of reasons why this has happened, but they have they've been suspended on Twitter for violating rules. I'm not gonna shed any tears for this, but I know a few people are unhappy about it. But even when you go onto like the Higgs field creator, I don't want to follow you. Here we go. Higgs field creator account. You can see all of these posts that have been wiped off the face of Twitter. Very interesting. A couple of reasons why this seems to have happened. One, they were paying influencers, people like myself, content creators. They were paying for people to go and talk about Higgs field and to say, oh my God, it's the best thing since sliced bread. So I'm going to pull up a few. These people are being reposted. These are people who have been paid, basically, to talk about it. A lot of these people were not disclosing that it was an advert. So here we go. I'm just going to pick on this guy for no particular reason, but he would put out a post like this. Sorry, James, just happened to be here. Impressed with Higgs field AI, piano music generated with video. Posted, this might have been paid for, but it's not disclosed. On social media, you're meant to say, hey, this is a paid partnership. Not doing so is basically, whenever you see influencers talking about, oh my God, this is groundbreaking, this is going to destroy Hollywood, this is the end, etc. This is often, not always, but often a paid for post that is non-disclosed. So they got caught for that. They're not the only people doing it. There are many other AI companies doing this right now, and it's a bit gross, but they have been doing it egregiously and they got caught out. The other thing they were doing was they were advertising using likenesses. Let me see if I can find one of celebrities. I saw one where they had a couple of the people from Stranger Things. Not sure if I'll be able to find them. Someone from Stranger Things and Game of Thrones in hot pants touching each other's bums. So stealing likenesses, which is a problem with image and video AI, and then using that in advertising to promote your product and sexualizing it at the same time. Stacking up egregious problems, basically. I'm not seeing anything particularly bad. Apparently there were some really horrendous ones that were bordering on pornographic but using celebrities. I heard that there were some that were extremely problematic. So all in all, I can see why this happened. They were doing undisclosed adverts with influencers and not paying them. They'd pay them to post generative AI slop, sometimes slightly pornographic, sometimes using deepfake images of celebrities, all problematic. They were paying the content creators not to disclose that it was an advert, and then they weren't even paying them. They would remove the deal or disappear and won't respond to emails. I'm in a group with content creators. A few have talked or worked with Higgs field, and they said that, yeah, they're an absolute nightmare to deal with. So I think all around, it's a company that got what they deserved. In today's news, you get what you effing deserve. Account suspended. Here we go. B. Higgs field. Raise 130 million in funding. Build one of the best AI video generators. Brag post about destroying creative job. Bot to the engagement on your post. Mass DM hundreds of creators. Offer $20 to $1,000 per content piece. Ask for an email, but message on X the next day that the campaign is paused. Resend the offer again. Get suspended. Yeah, so they are a problematic company who has been knocked out of play by the looks of it. And I'm seeing a lot of damage control, like people posting this article, the attempted takedown of the 1.3 billion AI company by Fakeout, who's written a long article about basically defending them. And I saw Riley saying, I'd be willing to bet money that this is a paid post. So they're in full damage control. And yeah, I am okay if they do not make it through this. There are some very good AI companies and some very bad AI companies, and there's very little to stop a company from being egregious and using AI for terrible means. The problem is it hurts the rest of the industry, the people who are doing good things with AI. What people are going to see is the slop, the deepfakes, the engagement baiting, instead of the valuable stuff going on behind the scenes. So one less company like Higgs Field, totally fine with that. Speaking of egregiousness, let's have a look at AI.com. I'm going to look at the comments first. Basically, they're setting up a blackmail ring using any personal data you put into AI. That's why Epstein got exposed. Are you moving away from the UK? Yes, I am. I'm leaving the UK in a couple of months, in April. I've lived in Asia and America, so relocating isn't that big a deal. But yes, I'm leaving it for a number of reasons. Let's talk about AI.com. We just talked about Higgs Field, a dodgy AI company. AI.com, I think, might be the next one. This is a company that released an advert at the Super Bowl. The advert apparently cost about $10 million, so they had some money. They own AI.com, a domain that cost 70 million to buy. And this is the site. So it's AI.com. You can claim your handle and launch your AI. Okay, that's fairly generic. And then we come down here. It's AI.com is on a mission to accelerate the arrival of AGI by building a decentralized network of self-improvement AI agents that perform real-world tasks for the good of humanity. Okay, I don't know what that means, but okay. Then there's a weird gap here. Join now. Can I click on that? Oh, it does work. To claim your unique AI.com username. So they paid 70 million for this domain, 10 million for the Super Bowl advert, and people rushed en masse to AI.com to claim their handle. I also had a look. I was like, oh, what is this? Is this Apple entering the arena? Who's got this? You can sign up or log in. I'll just show you what it shows you instead. So you'll connect your Google account. Is that the only way to do it? That's the only way to do it. I'm not going to do that. It will immediately ask for your credit card, because it says, oh, we want to verify that you are human, so give us your credit card. And it's like, I don't think so. I don't know who you are. I don't know why you're asking me for my credit card. I don't know what this is. What am I signing up for? It's a mission to accelerate the arrival of AGI by building a decentralized network of autonomous self-improving AI agents. They managed to get every single AI buzzword into that. And decentralized, that's a bit of a Web3 as well. So they've got all of the buzzwords in there. They just need a bit of metaverse and we get the bingo. I didn't sign up for this. I saw a bunch of people did. And I was skeptical. Are you sure you want to give your credit card? Turns out that a few hours later, we found out that it's by the guy who set up crypto.com. So he's got really good domains. He's good at domain names. So crypto guy with no AI background buys AI.com for £70 million, burns 10 million on a Super Bowl advert, slogan accelerating the arrival of AGI. Turns out it's just an open claw wrapper. We'll get back to that in a moment. Ask for your credit card details right away to claim a handle. Website looks like a cheap vibe coded mess, agree, and then crashes instantly on Cloudflare with a 504 gateway. So it got overloaded by the looks of it. This looks like the peak of the AI bubble. This happened yesterday or 2 days ago. People aren't really talking about it that much. This has died off very quickly. Maybe we're going to hear more about this when all the credit card details get leaked or hacked. This is bizarre and very bubbly. Hilariously, somebody bought AI.com for $9 in 1996 and just sold it for 70 million. So that person has done very well. Kudos. But I do not know what is going on here. This does not help. This is every AI buzzword in one sentence. Giving your credit card to this seems like a terrible idea. And the whole thing is apparently built on Claudebot in the background. So let's pull up Peter Steinberg. So the guy made Claudebot. Sorry, OpenClaw. Because he commented on this the other day. He found out that it was a Claudebot or an OpenClaw wrapper, basically. And he's like, oh, I don't know what to think about this. Oh, here we go. I guess I'm flattered. Behind the scenes, apparently, because I haven't actually seen the product, is some kind of potentially, it's an agent built on Claudebot, which I think can trade for you. This is what I've seen. People saying that it can buy stocks and shares for you. Sounds risky to me. Let's see if there's any other information, because I haven't been able to find very much. So even the terms and conditions, there is a terms and conditions. This looks like vaporware. This looks like a huge problem when all these credit card details get leaked shortly. If you're thinking about signing up for this in order to claim your username, I would say don't. It looks like a scam or a nightmare waiting to happen. Staying away, even if you can't claim your handle, seems like the best play right now. Maybe this will be the future of artificial intelligence. I will be happy for that. I don't believe it will be. Stay away for now. Don't touch it. Has anyone seen anything about it in the last couple of days? It just died in a day or two. This had 1 million views, only 400 comments, 2,000 likes. That's boosted. Even if you don't charge my credit card, why add it when I have no idea what the product is? Stephen Carter. Fair. But you can't sign up with Google. Access blocked. AI.com's request does not comply with Google's policies. The only way to sign up has been blocked by Google. Google literally blocking registration because of how scammy your flow is wild. Spend 70 million, you'd think you'd have an easier onboarding experience. But you can't even register because their Google auth has been blocked. Probably for the best. Good job, Google. Utterly bizarre, and it feels like peak bubble to me. It's going to harm the industry and the people doing good work, the people leasing products like Codex 5.3, really good. Claude, Opus 4.6, really good. There are labs putting out really good products that allow us to build and create and do things that we can never do before. Then there's stuff like this, which is obviously a scam or nothing burger, but people are falling for it because it's new and hot. We need to stop falling for crap like this because it's going to hurt the reputation of the whole industry. The industry already has reputational problems. Let's not make it worse with this predatory. Lyra just joined. What we're talking about, Maltbot. No, I wish we were talking about Maltbot. We're talking about AI.com, the very obviously scam site. We'll see what it is. We have no idea what it is. I actually develop AI-based trading apps, and it's bloody hard work, not as easy as people say. Trading with artificial intelligences. We'll probably have to restrict them from the market, or institutional traders will somehow restrict retail traders from using AI bots. If we have perfect AI trading bots who can always make the best trade, then the market becomes, we don't need it, basically. And the stock market would just be agents talking to each other and not necessarily with any excess profit to be made, because if we all have perfect bots, the market becomes so efficient that no additional profits can be taken from it, which it's good for the markets, bad for traders. Lyra says, I haven't heard about it. Don't worry about it. I wouldn't worry. Scam o'clock, I think. Cool. I'm going to finish up some questions. A quick update on the UK AI skills website. So it's probably seen on social media. I got really annoyed with this website, which is a crappy UK government website. Cost them £4.1 million. It doesn't have any material itself, just links. I can click on this and it will take me to a Microsoft page and I can do the course there on Microsoft. But it costs £4.1 million. They are hosting it on something called InVision, which is down here, InVision Community. So InVision costs, let me have a look, $89 a month, $150, $200 a month. Not very much, a couple of thousand a year, 0.5% of the budget. They didn't build it, they didn't create the content, it's just links. My big question this week has been, what did you spend £4.1 million on? Thank you, because it looks like you pissed it away. I got annoyed and I started building my own. I've got all the data of the courses they're recommending, but I'm enriching that data. They have 516, I now have 1,200 courses. I'm getting more information out of those courses. On the official one, they will just tell you if it's free or if it's free or if there's a fee payable, but it doesn't tell you how much it is. So it could be $100, it could be $30,000 for a degree. No way to know. So I've been pulling things like the price. So I now have the prices of a bunch of them. I'm pulling things like, does this count for CPD? What kind of certification can you get? Is this actually from the UK? It's meant to be a UK AI hub. So is this specific to the UK or is it global? I'm pulling all this information. I've also built, this is very basic because I have so much other things to do. This is a hobby project. I've made an actual AI that you can talk to. It has access to the database plus all of the enriched data. So you can ask it, you can say, hey, I work in marketing. I want to learn how to use image generation tools to create brochures. Using the enriched data, it will give you a proper training pathway. So on the official site, that's not it, what's it, AI Skills Hub. On the official site, you can make a pathway, but all it does is you answer a couple of questions. You say which industry you're in, agriculture, transport, construction, creative, or none of the above. We can add in the industry, that's easy. Are you a worker, leader, or professional? You can select more than one. That's weird. Okay, so let's say I'm an AI worker. Then you can give your experience level. Let's say I'm intermediate. And then what technology stack you're working on. That's fine. So let's say Google, update. So the official pathway on the government website gives you a bunch of random courses. They are filtered based on what you've given them, but it's not a pathway. Here it's saying you need to get started with Google Cloud. This one should be first, Introduction to Generative AI. You start here, and then you might come to this one maybe. But then there's other categories down here. Is that the same one or just the same picture? Google AI Essential Specialization, oh, just the same picture. So it's not clear which ones you're meant to look. This picture is the same as this picture, which is the same as this picture. These two pictures are identical. They've only bought 10 Shutterstock images. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be mean to them, but they spent £4 million of taxpayers' money. This pathway is not very helpful because it doesn't actually give me a pathway. It's a filtered list from their database saying these are relevant to your stack, your level, your persona, and your industry. That's nothing. This is 30 different courses it's telling me to take. And it always puts this one in. There's always this random agriculture and food one that slips in. That's not even agriculture and food related. I'm not going to start because I will get annoyed because it is terrible. So what I've done is create a proper AI that can listen to what you want and help generate a pathway. Still refining that, but I will continue to work on that. I'm building it in my own time because I got so annoyed with how terrible this is. What I will do, once I've got the basics, I will replicate that and do other countries. So I'd like to do America, I'd like to do, I don't know, Singapore, I'd like to do France, Spain, etc. And then just replicate this into different places, or maybe an EU one. Instead of each of these countries spending 4 million, I'm just going to go ahead and create local versions. I say me, AI is going to help me do it. Follow me on social media if you want to see more angry videos of me dumping on their website because it pissed me off. What's your process for cloning sites? You just screenshotting every page? No, I built a little script which I stuck into Chrome. I'll show you what it looks like. This is my website. You can go into Inspect Console and then you can add stuff in here. You copy and paste a script in here and it will grab pages for you if you want to scrape, or you can do it using something like Playwright. So is it Codex? Yeah, Codex says Playwright. Oh, you won't be able to see it because it's an app. You can install the skill Playwright and that will visit browsers from the terminal and get the information it needs. There's a bunch of different ways to do it. You can also screenshot every single page. If you go into console on Chrome and press Command-Shift-P, it brings up this command thing. Type screenshot, and there you go. Capture area screenshot, capture full-size screenshot. You can grab screenshots. So basically what I'm doing with my scraper is going on and grabbing full-size screenshots from every page or grabbing the HTML. It depends how much crap is in the HTML, because sometimes it's going to clog up the context. So there's lots of different ways to do it. With these tasks, so just ask an AI if you don't know how to say, hey, I want to get some information from this page. It will help you. Has anyone reached out? Yes, a couple of people from the government reach out. I won't be mean, but a few people from the government and civil service have reached out in the UK for me to come and talk to them. Someone from the Cabinet Office, somebody from some civil service department, I forget what it was. They're not watching this. If they are, it's fine. They have said, oh, those guys are so wasteful. We're much better. We'd like to talk to you. Maybe. Prove it to me, though. I worry that departments are being equally wasteful and pissing away money. This one in particular is highly wasteful because the money went to PwC. So they gave, here we go, this third-party site delivered by PricewaterhouseCoopers on behalf of Innovate UK Bridge AI programme. So £4 million was given to PwC. PwC went out and immediately gave a couple of thousand, not much, to InVision Community to build the site. So PwC did not build the site. And then they have done a bit of research, probably got some interns to do it. They didn't do it very well because, look, again, I don't want to get annoyed, but you'd think the biggest employer in the UK is the NHS. You think they'd probably have the NHS's training materials here. Put in the NHS, nothing. Put in civil service, because the civil service have also provided really useful training materials. Nope, just not there. So they haven't even bothered to get existing resources that their own government or their own public departments have made. So I don't know where the money was gone. I do. Went to PwC and they pissed it away. Hit them with, it will cost you 4.2 million. Yeah, I don't want to do government work for 4 million maybe. I'd prefer to be building stuff and releasing it. So when this is done, I will release it freely and make it nice and easy to use. I won't require an email. I want people to have access to the information so they can get onto training pathways, learn what to do, know where they can get CPD, how to get involved with artificial intelligence. I don't think it should be behind an email. Plus, it needs to be done a lot better. Somebody on YouTube, Joji, saying, ask for 4.1 million to redo the AI page. I'm just going to redo it for free and get it out to the public because I think it could be useful, but right now it's not. If you want a summary of what was covered in today's live, it's going to be in the newsletter. You can join our aiwithkyle.com community and get access to a bunch, like 120 courses, I think it is. The newsletter, a community, a whole bunch more, and that's all free. So come along and join. And we're getting a couple of hundred people joining up 100 people joining every day. My mission is to get 1 million people ready for artificial intelligence. And this is how I'm doing it, by giving away this stuff for free, including a 5-day AI readiness course, basically helping you orientate yourself and work out what you should be doing with AI, where your knowledge. So that is all available for free at aiwithkyle.com. Fantastic. I am going to finish up and I will see you